Why isn't there a diet that works for everybody 100% of the time? Why isn't there a lifetime diet that can keep anyone healthy and in shape? Sure, we've all seen people succeed with Atkins, paleo, keto, intermittent fasting, and so many other diets. But why don't they work for every single person all of the time? Mainstream experts commonly attribute variability in diet success to such factors as genetics, metabolism, hormones, and various medical conditions. And while certain correlations do exist, none are the true cause. In this series, we will provide compelling evidence supporting this assertion. We'll succinctly explain the primary causative factor determining a person's weight, and provide a pathway toward effortlessly eating whatever you want and having a body that you love. Have you noticed that foods that scientific experts consider unhealthy or fattening are often the foods that we crave the most? This implies that our bodies and cravings are totally opposed to our well-being. How do we make sense of this glaring contradiction? Are our cravings wrong? Are the experts wrong? It's one or the other, right? We certainly do acknowledge that some people do experience weight gain after eating these foods, and that some people who avoid these foods and eat only so-called healthy foods stay in great shape. At first glance, it seems to add up perfectly. But now here comes the curveball. There's a third category of people who eat whatever they want, whenever they want, including all those fattening and unhealthy foods, and still effortlessly stay in great shape. Plus, we're all familiar with people who almost completely avoid so-called unhealthy or fattening foods, yet still struggle with their weight. How can this be? If you're thinking to yourself, oh, surely it must be metabolism, genes, hormones, age, working out, then brace yourself for the next videos. Everyone knows someone who eats whatever they want, rarely exercises, doesn't even try to stay in shape, yet remains effortlessly slim. We were all led to believe that these people have hit the genetic lottery, giving them a fast metabolism, and that's why they're able to effortlessly stay fit and trim. However, did you know that these effortlessly slim people typically have low basal metabolic rates, BMR, according to medical science? It turns out that thin individuals typically have a 20% lower BMR than overweight individuals. Why would there be this contradiction between popular belief and authoritative expert explanation? Science attempts to explain the contradiction by introducing a concept called overall metabolism, which includes both your BMR and your metabolism due to physical activity. So literally all they're suggesting is thin people exercise more. But as we've already acknowledged, we all know people who eat tons of food, barely exercise, and easily stay slim. Therefore, can we agree that this theory about metabolism controlling weight is almost a complete waste of time? But there has to be an explanation for that thin person, doesn't there? Here's an idea. Would our weight be determined by our beliefs about food and eating? The medical establishment claims that internal biological factors, particularly your genes and hormones, greatly determine your weight. For instance, your FTO gene, commonly nicknamed your fat gene, is the gene most widely studied. While 30 to 40% of people with the FTO variant are categorized as obese, 25 to 30% of people without the variant are also categorized as obese. Plus, 60 to 70% of people with the FTO variant are not categorized as obese. Yes, that is the medical establishment's best genetic correlation for weight. At this point, it is obvious that genes cannot be pointed to as predictive, determinative, or causative. The entire hormonal imbalance story is yet another hand-wave attempt at explaining why some people experience weight gain. Though no matter which hormone you look at, thyroid, insulin, cortisol, leptin, you will find overweight people with and without hormonal imbalances, and you will find thin people with and without hormonal imbalances. There is nothing in genetics or endocrinology other than weak correlation and zero true causation. The medical establishment explanation for weight problems centers around the following 4 factors: irrational cravings for bad foods, metabolism, genetics, and hormones. What do these all have in common? They're all factors over which you have little or no control. They're entrenched problems, and the best you can hope to do is manage them with very little hope of overcoming them. Yes, the medical establishment science has concluded that you are effectively powerless to have the body that you want. Let me ask you, can you look deep inside and check if that feels right to you? Wouldn't it be deeply unfair if attractive bodies were simply a matter of luck? What a cruel, hostile, and unjust world that would suggest. What if this disempowering explanation is not true, and there's a tremendously more empowering explanation that you're just about to hear in our next videos? Let's recall that effortlessly thin person whom we all know, who somehow defies the experts by eating tons of bad foods and barely exercising, and yet effortlessly maintains an attractive body. We've already called into question genes, metabolism, and hormones as causative factors for their weight. Now we'll put forward an alternative causative factor that may surprise you. Did you know that these effortlessly thin people have vastly different beliefs about food and eating compared to people who struggle with their weight? Essentially, effortlessly thin people view food simply as fuel, and that eating is a joyful, pleasurable, guilt-free experience. While do not people who struggle with their weight view eating as a scientific management system with dire consequences for submitting to their cravings? You may object that the effortlessly thin only have their beliefs because they've always been thin. Though we are suggesting that because they never held the beliefs that bad foods make them gain weight, that's why they never experienced those results. Let me make the implication perfectly concrete with ice cream as an example. If you believe that ice cream makes you gain weight, then you're going to gain weight. Why? Because when you're eating the ice cream, you're going to feel guilty and ashamed as you imagine that ice cream going straight to your thighs or waist. Unlike the effortlessly thin person who eats ice cream with carefree joy, imagining themselves thin for all their days to come. The key to weight loss is reshaping your beliefs around food and eating. When your beliefs about food and eating are positive and empowered, just like that effortlessly thin person, the body of your dreams will follow. The energetic fear, shame, and guilt around food and eating that once instructed your body to store fat will be gone. In its place will be joy and love for food, and any excess calories will pass straight through you. Remember this, it's not about which foods you eat, it's about what you think and feel about the foods you eat before, during, and after you eat them. We'll be the first to acknowledge that that runs counter to the highest alleged authorities and majority popular opinion. But that should be no reason for you to dismiss this information without your own independent consideration. We assure you that the authorities and popular majority don't disagree with this information. It simply hasn't entered their awareness. What's for sure is this: the medical establishment's advice has landed you in your present weight situation and their advice is not about to change. So take a leap of faith. Here is what to do next. Learn more about our course, Conscious Eating, the Key to Weight Loss. Click the Ascend button, the rightmost button below this video for more information right now. You should see it right there. This is about taking your power back over your health. The medical establishment wants you disempowered, failing to manage forces that are largely out of your control. This is about taking ownership of your beliefs and feelings around food. Do that, and the body that you've always wanted will be yours much faster than you think.